You can trace certain ideas and say, oh my goodness, I see why, I see where the island of Lesbo comes from. That's a jewel that I just gave you. There was an island off of Greece called Lesbo, Lesbo. And I just want you to research it. So when you start tracing certain ideas and concepts, you start to realize that there are some things that are not sustainable. There's some things that are just not sustainable. It does not allow humanity, or it does not allow for culture or civilization to progress. And again, you have to do the due diligence and research this for yourself. You're all young adults now, right? As you get older, you get more responsibility, and it's no one's responsibility to tell you what to think or how to think. You have to do that yourself. Because the position that you're going to have in society is going to be a position where you have to consider what type of beauty you can bring to this world and how you can use that position to help repair the things that are broken. Right? So in that journey, again, there's certain things that you're going to keep with you for the rest of your life. Now, here's the hard one. There's certain things you have to give up. It is not going to be beneficial for you to keep certain ideas or the ways that you see yourself for the duration of your life. As young ladies, I mentioned it a moment ago in regards to history, that's exactly what it is. It's his story, which means as young ladies, as women, as females, you're going to be left out of a narrative that is not written by you, that does not have your interests at heart. That's one of the reasons for this academy. This is an all-girls school, right? Why is that important? Why would you have an institution like that if everything was so inclusive? Because obviously, as a group, a segment of the population, not only have you been left out today, but historically, that is how it has been. It's important that you understand that. Because as a group, women are considered a minority, right? So if you look at it from a mathematical perspective in terms of ratios, a minority would basically be considered less. You know, if you're, say, it's 10 to 7. The 7 in that ratio is considered a minority. You're less in number. Well, how in this country are women considered a minority when you're more of the population? Did you ever think about that? You're considered a minority, but you're more of the population. So what that means is that perspective of a minority is not based on mathematics. It's based upon another definition. Minority means lesser importance and significance. That's what it means. So if you're less important or less significant, that means you're less valuable. All you have to do is look around you, look online, look at the movies that you see, listen to the music, and you can see it that women are considered less than men in this society. This is a very misogynistic society that we all live in. When you see movements like the Me Too movement, or you see other movements that talk about the importance of womanhood and sisterhood, that's why that's important, because you're considered of less importance and value than other people, which means you don't have the same value in terms of your voice and advocacy for things. Right? Now think about this. The Grammys just happened recently. How many people saw the Grammys? I saw elements of it and I wasn't even trying to see it, right? Just because it was all on social media, right? So best new artist, Megan Thee Stallion. Best song of the year, Megan Thee Stallion. And the song is what? Y'all know what the song was? Come on now. I know y'all acting like you don't know what song that is. Savage, right? Performance of the year. Savage. And her and her homegirl, Cardi B, performed WAP on the Grammys. And I'm not sure if you know what WAP stands for. I think it stands for Where Ambulances Park, right? But they were awarded for all of this. They were awarded for all of this. So as young women looking at that, that becomes the standard that you should aspire to. That's what young girls are being taught to look up to as a standard of womanhood and empowerment. Savage means a person who has lost the knowledge of himself and is living a beast life. A savage is a person that doesn't have restraints, that can actually live within a civilized society. Now, some people may say, well, you know, she's saying savage because it represents she's ferocious on the microphone, and as an artist, nobody can compete with her. Yeah, whatever. But that don't have nothing to do with her performances. That has nothing to do with what you see. That has nothing to do with what you see being awarded. Now, the Recording Academy that votes on these Grammys, it's not women who are behind closed doors that you don't even know who the voting members are. There's about 12,000 voting members of the Recording Academy. Over a year ago, the first woman was elected the CEO of the Recording Academy, and she only lasted 5 months before they got her out of there, because she was talking about changes that need to be made concerning inclusion. Like I just mentioned, women as a minority group are not properly represented within society and in different segments. She wanted to make some changes. She wasn't even in there for 5 months before they fired her. Right? So fast forward a couple years, and you see Megan Thee Stallion being awarded for what she was doing. That gives, whenever you want to see the standard of a society or the level of a society, you don't necessarily look at the males or the men. You look at the standard of the women. When you go to a society and you want to see the level of civilization of that society, you look at the standard of the women and you see what level the women in that society are on. Why? Because women represent the birth of a nation. It is through you that a society and a civilization is possible. So whatever level the women are on that society, because a woman being the first teacher of the child, that is going to define the trajectory and being awarded the best top artist, best new song, best performance, and that sets a bar on womanhood and femininity, right? That's her hero. And I got to pull her aside sometimes and talk to her about certain things, because she's in 6th grade and she's been sending uh, images to boys that's in middle school. Yeah, sending pictures like that to boys in middle school, and she's only in 6th grade. Now, because I'm a teacher, I'm not supposed to know all of this, right? So unless she tells me this, I can't talk to her about that directly. But I do have to have conversations with her about the fact that when you get to high school and you want to be the student class president or something like that, or say you get out of high school and then you go to college or whatever. Say you want to run for public office. It may not be Twitter at that time, but it's going to be some type of social media platform. And I guarantee that there's a possibility that somebody may come out with those type of pictures and say, look what you was doing when you was in 6th grade. Cancel culture. Cancel culture. So I have to have that type of conversation with her on the side and act ignorant, like I don't know what she's doing, unless she tells me that directly. Then I could address it head on. But other than that, I just have to be this psychic and speak to her about certain things that I know in your generation that you might be doing that you might want to think about before you do it. Right? So yeah, so that part of the journey, which is going to be consistent, there are certain things that you're going to have to give up, certain ideas, certain behavior. And when you think about war, visualize war in your head right now. You may visualize a battlefield. You may visualize people with guns. You may visualize airplanes and bombs. And you're in a war right now, sitting in this audience and have no idea, a lot of you. A quiet war with quiet weapons. We are constantly being bombarded with ideas about your identity and who you are and who you think you should be. All of your 5 senses are constantly being bombarded with ideas about who you think that you are and who you need to be. And you're going to have to fight those different ideas in order for you to sustain yourself to be successful in your undertakings. It's kind of like you look at this pandemic we're dealing with right now. One of the things that a lot of people are now aware of is that you have to build your immunity. And people who have pre-existing conditions find themselves more vulnerable to the virus, correct? Life is the same way. There are certain type of ideas and beliefs that you may have that puts you in a position to have pre-existing conditions. That when certain situations or circumstances happen in life, you're more susceptible than somebody else. So part of what I'm sharing as well is about building your immunity. In the Bible, it talks about putting on the armor of God. It's the exact same thing, because you are constantly in a war when it comes to your identity. And going back to what I said about knowledge, knowledge allows you to develop the weaponry to protect yourself. But if you don't know nothing, you won't have access to wisdom. And the opposite of wisdom is foolish. So you make a lot of foolish mistakes like I've made, like a lot of the adults in this audience have made, because of the lack of knowledge. Now here's the third thing, which is equally important to the other 2 points in terms of keeping some things that you've already gotten, giving some things up. And the third point is you have to be open-minded to learn things new. You have to be open-minded to learn things new. Now, why is that important? Because greater is thee that is in you than this that is within this world. Now, you have to listen carefully to what I'm getting ready to say. This is my suit. It's mine. It belongs to me. Not me. Not me. It's mine. This is my suit. Right? But this is also my hand. That's what we say, right? This is my hand. It belongs to me, but it's not me. It allows me the capacity to do things, but it's not me. It's my hand. But this is also my voice. It's mine, but it's not me. So what am I really? What am I really? There's clues all throughout the Bible. When you learn about being made in the image and the likeness, that's a clue. When you learn about greater is he that is in you than that is within this world, that's a clue. What about in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh? That is another clue that greater is you than how pretty you think you are, the clothes that you have. When I came here this morning, I thought that you was gonna have like uniforms, and I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, word, they ain't gotta wear uniforms? That's cool. So you have some people who take pride and they think that they're what they're wearing, or what their parents drive them in and drop them off at school in, or all of these other very simple ideas about what you ultimately are. So this war, this attack on your identity is really an attack on your spirit, your soul, that which is greater than this, than this. And that's what you have to protect. That's what, when we say the armor, that is what the armor is protecting, what is within you. And what is within you is that direct relationship with God, that infinite potential that allows you to meet any challenges or any obstacles in life. And all you have to do is look around you and you can see that that ability exists in people who are around you. Even if you ask your parents and caretakers about some of the experiences they've gone through, some of the things that people go through is beyond human capacity. And you ask yourself, like, how did you do that? How? There's a man named Mark Inglis, and he's a mountaineer from Australia. When he's 21 years old, this dude was climbing a mountain in Australia, and he got trapped in an ice cave for 2 weeks. And when he woke up, he was in a hospital and he realized that he had to get both legs amputated. Now, for some people, that would have been the end of their mountaineering career. Not him. He said, I'm going to climb Mount Everest now. And what he did is he got the like metal prosthetics that allowed him to continue his mountaineering career with no legs. Mount Everest is 49,141 feet high. That's almost higher than the clouds. And this dude with no legs went to the summit of Mount Everest. That is an example of the infinite potential that exists within you that is beyond human capacity. And you have examples of that around you all of the time, all of the time. So in your journey, you have to be open to expanding that infinite potential and learning things new about yourself. When I was your age, I was like a 3-star athlete. I played basketball, I ran track, I played football. And if you would have asked me at that age, you know, what was I going to be doing when I'm 40? How old am I? Hold on. I just turned 46. I've been forgetting my age as I got older. But if you would have asked me when I was your age, what would I be doing right now? I might say, yo, I'm be playing basketball or something. But thankfully, I had people around me, not just my parents and my caretakers, but educators like you have, who push you to expand your infinite potential. I know some of you might be in class, you may think like, yo, what's that bell? Okay. I know some of you might be in class, you may think, oh, this teacher is giving me a hard time or whatever. No, that teacher may just expect more of you than you expect of yourself. And they understand the value of your time being here because it is a part of our responsibility as educators to prepare you to be ambassadors of the future. This world is eventually going to be yours, right? So those are just 3 things that I wanted to share with you this morning in regards to your personal journey. So now we're talking about personal growth. That means nothing unless you're connected to others and to this planet. So your personal growth is for the ultimate purpose of extra personal growth, not just interpersonal, because interpersonal is from person to person. Extra personal growth also includes the planet, right? Please support and share with your networks our Atlantis School Renovation Project. Through a recently acquired property here in the city of Niagara Falls, New York, we are doing renovations to establish an early childhood learning center and after-school program for youth in our city. Despite students of color representing more than half the student population in this country, Black men represent less than 2% of that teacher workforce. So as a Black educator, my voice and presence within the lives of children is critical to combating family dysfunction, juvenile delinquency, and creating an inclusive workforce that ensures that all of our nation's students receive a quality, culturally enriched education, which consists of various projects, programs, and initiatives such as this cool animation series. This is not simply my profession, it is also my passion and my purpose. We would really appreciate your support and sharing this initiative with your networks. Thank you.